Alright guys, welcome back. We are currently in the process of removing the cylinder head. I didn't record this step, but we cracked, me and my assistant Eric here, cracked all the bolts loose because you have to use a 3.5 foot breaker bar to crack them loose, and they're pretty hard on there, so didn't want to catch it on video. But I got them all loose already, so we're going to start buzzing them out, and then we're going to pull the head off. So first we're going to start with these ones inside the timing cover here. They're E-Torx, I believe they're E12. There's one underneath the timing rail you gotta be careful to get to, so I have the socket sitting right on top of here just so you guys can kind of see that with the flashlight. Don't forget that one. So, with that being said, yeah, don't forget that one down in there. A little bit of a bastard to get. So we're gonna buzz all these off with my electric now that they're all loose, and when you take them off, you go from the inside out to avoid warping the head. So I'm going to go ahead and buzz all these up now. There's one right here. A little bit wobbly because of the nature of the stretch bolts. Those are all the ones up in front. We change size over to the T50 socket to get the smaller ones. And there's two small ones in the back. And then we'll get to the bigger T60 sized, the main studs. I actually think my extension's bent. So that's all the bolts loose. Let me grab a... I guess I'll just throw them over in the box. Of course, with a lot of these modern engines, they have stretch bolts on the cylinder head studs, or bolts, whatever you want to call them, so you cannot reuse them. You reuse them, you can snap them, and then you're really in for world of trouble. And there's washers on there too. I just dropped one. Washers on there that are on the bottom. I was going to use a magnet to get those out, but I guess that one decided to come out with it. Oh, and there's one more on the outside here that has to come off. I loosened it already, but I forgot to mention that. Don't forget that one. That's all of the iron that holds the cylinder head on. So, we're going to pry the cylinder head up to kind of loosen it up a little bit, so we'll come back right after that and I'll continue where I left off. Alright. I got the head crack loose. It actually, I was anticipating it requiring a lot of brute force to get it to come off with most cylinder heads, but this one actually lifted right off. It weighs about 30 pounds, so it's not too terribly heavy. I'm going to go ahead and lift it off, and then my camera guys that come over here and look at the pistons, you guys will actually see it first before I do on the video, so we'll see why it failed. So there's the cylinder head. I'm going to set it down over here in the box. So, you're looking at cylinders 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And right now, the failure isn't very evident. Let's take a light on the pistons and see if we can see anything out of the ordinary. Oh. You see that slop? That's definitely not, I don't think that's good. I don't see anything terribly obvious. Let's try rotating it. Timing chains are binding up a little bit. The cylinder walls look alright. Let's get the head gasket off. There's your head gasket, bimetal. It's actually, I think, 4 layers of metal. Yeah. There is some scoring in cylinder 1. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's on the other side. Why don't you come over here? There's some scoring right here. Nothing too bad, but you know, I really don't see anything besides, you know, like you look at, they all have some slop in them though. I won't be the first to say I'm not an internal engine expert. I don't really know what the tolerance allowances are on pistons to move around their bores or anything. But that one's got some excessive movement. Yeah, there's definitely some scoring going on there. Well, I'm going to have to dig further into it to see what's going on. Oh, I cut myself. Ouch. I'm going to have to dig into it further to see what caused it. The only thing that's really evident right now is there's some hot scoring in that cylinder. But no, there's some look alright. Yeah, definitely some scoring. I'll have to take some measurements of the caliper and see if maybe it warped out, or we'll also look at the head too and see if there's anything obvious wrong with the head. But right now I got all the valves in it and the lifters, and I don't want to tip it over because it'll all fall out. But while we got the head off, I can talk a little bit more about it. If you can kind of see, there's a difference in the color of the metals right here. That would be your cast iron liner. And this would be the aluminum block on the outside. This whole thing is an open deck design. There's no webbing in between the actual outside of the block and the cylinders. So that's kind of in the tuning world is known as the weaker of the blocks. But this one actually, for whatever reason, the N54 holds up pretty well under some stress. And you can see in the actual, in between the jackets here, you can actually see some antifreeze hanging out in there yet. So this is the cooling jacket for the cylinders. That's why they do this. It's more efficient for cooling. So yeah, I'm gonna have to dig into it further and see what's going on, because I'll clean up the piston and see if I can find any cracks. But for now, all we got is some scoring on the cylinder walls. But it's not like you can dig your fingernail into it or anything. It feels actually pretty smooth. It's just some kind of hot scoring going on right about right here. So as you can see, the other bores, if you look at number 3, it doesn't look anything like it. It's pretty smooth. You can still see cross hatching in there. So we'll have to dig into it further. I'll have to pull the rotating mass out and pull the piston out and see if there's a ring failure or something of that nature. So we'll keep digging into it, and I'll keep updating with more videos. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more. Alright, now here's the block. I want to do a quick video on the timing rail here. This is a timing rail that's normally on there like this when the cylinder head's in place. Now to get the cylinder head off, this should come off. I mean, you could probably wiggle it out if it were on there, but one thing I forgot to mention, because I didn't show it in the video, is how to get this off. It's clipped on here. I don't want to push it on there because it's a real bitch to get on and off. But as you can see, there are 2 tabs on here that lock into this guide. So make sure to get it off. I just stuck 2 screwdrivers in there and pried it apart, and it came right out. So I just wanted to show that to you guys. If you guys have to pull your head in the ungodly event that you have to. So that's that. But one thing I wanted to show you guys, and my buddy here thought it'd be really cool too, was to kind of show you what this thing looks like when it's running and how the cylinders move themselves. So he's going to be filming it. I'm going to be cranking on this thing by hand. I just kind of wanted to show you guys what it looks like. So I'm going to hold the chain so it don't bind up, and I'll rotate this so you can kind of see it. I got to go kind of slow though because the oil pump, still works, so it's spitting oil out everywhere. But as you can see, the middle ones come up first, then the outer ones, and then the middle-ish ones come up. And that's part of the reason why straight sixes run so smooth, because there's always 2 cylinders coming up and 2 cylinders going down. So it makes it for a very smooth running, naturally balanced engine. I just thought you guys would want to see that. I think it looks kind of cool. So that's what that looks like when it's running. Obviously it'd be a lot faster than that because I can't crank it at 800 RPMs for idle. Another thing I wanted to show you guys really quick was the cylinder head. We didn't get much video of that because there's really not all that much to see, but I wanted to show you kind of what the cylinder head tops look like. So I got my light here. If we actually look at the cylinder head underneath, I don't want to tip it back too far, you can see number 1 looks pretty bad. So these 2 valves over here towards this side are your intake valves, and the smaller ones are the exhaust. And as you can see, the rest of the exhaust, they actually look pretty clean. But you look at these ones, they're just caked with carbon and oil residue. So that's a really good indication that this cylinder was burning excessive amounts of oil. And one thing I want to show you too is with the direct injection too. You got this threaded hole right here for spark plug, and the small hole right next to that would be the injector hole. So at direct injection, obviously you're shooting fuel right into the cylinder, and then the spark plug is right next to it. And that's another reason why you can't use projected spark plugs on this engine, is because the spark plug would stick out too far and would interfere with the spray of the injector. Not that anybody makes extended spark plugs for this engine anyway, but that would be the reason why. So I just thought you guys would want to see underneath the head. There's not really too much to see, but it is kind of cool to see it firsthand. But yeah, so to determine more what happened with this engine, I'm going to have to pull the pistons out, and we'll see if there's any ringland failures or cracking in the rings or something of that nature, but I'll keep you updated. Thanks for watching.